Hi!
Hi!
I'm Coco Ferosha.
And I am Isis Mirage.
And this is RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6, Episode 8 plus Untucked review.
Okay, so this is the last short review until the next episode. So, like we've been doing, we're going to start off with the runway this week. I thought Ru looked over.
Yeah.
Like, I loved the flowers cascading across the dress into the fishtail. It was very pretty. So this week was the comedy challenge. So we're not going to get too into the fashions and things because I feel like, you know, for the most part, people played it safe knowing that it wasn't so much about the runway look.
Yeah. Darienne's look was, like you said, just safe to me. Obviously, Darienne was up first. You know, there's nothing to write home about, but she was just in comedy, so
she looked good. Yeah, I like the red hair on her, I like the nude shoe, you know, it was together.
Yeah. So there was the old people in the audience, so that was a big factor on the girls' comedy, I thought. But,
yeah, definitely.
And Darienne went first, so which is always like all eyes on you, girl. But I think it was a little like.
I felt her nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I felt her nerves, and I felt like a joke. It starts here and it ends here.
Yeah.
A joke, you know? I wanted a little more fluidity, but for going first and her actual jokes were good, I thought, and she was good. Like,
I can't fault her, like, I feel like she was good, even though her nerves did show through a little bit.
Yeah.
But the only thing was, for me, my expectations with Darienne were higher because I did see her coming into the competition as
that bitch.
Comedy queen.
Yeah.
You know, to cut it short.
Yeah.
So next up was Courtney Act. As far as the look goes, I feel like it was completely together. I would have even liked to see that look just walking the runway. Like, I felt like it was really cute.
Yeah, it was really cute. Very the blondes-ish stone corset tee, you know? Yeah, the hair was beautiful, makeup was beautiful. Couldn't fault her, really.
Yeah. As far as Courtney's performance, I just feel like, because the song that she did was like an old song that she'd been doing, and I just feel like it would have been cool to get something fresh from her, especially because everybody is asked to come up with something, not necessarily come up with something that they've been doing. So I just feel like, you know, be like fair, right? Like come up with fresh material.
Yeah.
Like, because it's falling back a little bit on something that you already know.
Right.
And you know, Kaya got thrown out of the fucking Miss Rap Supreme for that shit. So, just saying.
I liked her speaking at the beginning more than I liked the actual song itself.
Yeah.
I just wasn't that much of a fan of the actual particular song. It didn't, you know, make me laugh or whatever.
Yeah.
It made the people there laugh somewhat. So, you know, I feel like she was a safe performance, not one of my best, but she did her thing. So next up was Miss Adore. As far as the look goes, I wasn't a huge fan of the dress. I like the hat for this.
Like, it was a funny little, you know,
cute little
addition.
touch,
I just felt a little bit confused, like, by the whole effect. Like, I didn't understand where she was going with it, with, like, the gloves.
Yeah.
And the belt.
Yeah. Oh, the belt. I hate that belt. Burn it in a fire, Adore. No shade.
She has much better things now.
Yes.
I felt like she did a good performance. Like, I felt like she kept up with it.
Yeah.
And she was completely just adored. She let herself just be herself, and I feel like the audience reacted as such.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as technically her jokes were kind of shitty, but
she felt authentic.
She did that Adore thing, and she was just charismatic and made people love her like she does to everyone. She has that charisma that just...
It's infectious. Yeah.
So next up was Bangela Creme. I felt like her whole persona just did not connect to the audience in that moment.
Yeah.
And her other main fault was that she didn't know when to stop to let the joke like sit a little bit, to just pause, because it was like they were back to back to back, and there was no like you know, moment.
She just didn't let anybody breathe. Like it got to a point where it felt like people were getting tired because it felt like a speech.
Yeah.
There was like no pause in between.
Yeah. So she definitely struggled this week for sure.
Her look, again, it was very Dayla as we know her, but I like this Dayla a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I
wanted to switch it up a little bit more.
I definitely do want her to switch it up, but I you know, I do live for when Ben gives me this, like,
Yeah.
Pussycat Girl.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I do.
Not mad.
I do love it.
Next up was Laganja Estranja. Starting off with the look, the only thing that I really liked about the look was the hair. Like, even though it was kind of smothering, like, I felt like if she would have opened everything up more and you really used it in just a better way, I felt like it was too much for already a lot that was going on.
It was proportionally a bit off, I think, because the hair was so big and then so much was stuffed.
That's what I'm saying. I felt like
keep
this
so
basic. Keep it basic.
Yeah.
You know?
I felt like there
Cute
were
but basic.
cute elements to the outfit completely. I liked the shoes, I liked the hair, but it just didn't work. It seemed very like...
I felt like this was the perfect moment to get a good silhouette, throw something on that, and then, you know, just tone it down a bit more. So performance-wise, I feel like the minute that Laganja found out that it was going to be old people, she needed to switch up her gig about this marijuana routine. Like,
yeah,
I feel like...
because those people are not the people.
No, it's like a different generation.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to throw them into a box and say this is what every old person is like.
Of course.
But I feel like for the most part, think about the adverts of like back in the day about weed and people jumping out the window and shit.
Yeah.
Like their view could be very different to this younger generation right here.
Of course.
And I feel like for me, I would have just like been like...
And like I felt like it was just, I don't know, like the way she was saying mean things to people, it's like, you know, I'm trying to juxtapose it with the way Bianca says mean things to people.
But the thing is, this is, to me, especially for an elderly crowd, it's easier to take a joke from somebody who older than somebody a lot younger. It's so easy to take that as disrespect.
Yeah.
The one positive thing I'm gonna say though about Laganja's routine is that she definitely stuck with it and she was committed to it. And even though nobody was really laughing too much and stuff and it wasn't being received that well, I felt like she handled it, like she didn't let her crack her. Yeah. Like she kept going.
Yeah.
Next up was Trinity K. Bonet. The look I was here for, I thought it was very gaudy in a way, very like
she had on the stripper shoes. I said, okay, Trinity.
You know?
She came out here. She out here.
But she looked over. Like it was so busy.
She did. Yeah, her comedy. I mean, this was her week as well. Like
she really brought
this week, it's like the confidence level this week from Trinity. And like the judges said, she came in, she changed the energy in the room. Yeah. And straight away it was positive, and she was making everyone laugh, and she really did amazing this week. I'm like so proud of her.
I feel like this week Trinity finally really took what she's good at, what she does in the clubs, and she applied it. Like she really applied it all the way. Like she really did though.
Apply it!
Yeah. She applied it. She took that, like, you know, hosting a show, whatever, the things that she does in the club, and she applied it to this challenge and made it work for this gig right here.
Yeah.
She did that, and one of the things that really made the whole routine funny was that she let us in, like as a viewer, as the fucking audience that was in the room, like she let y'all into her and who I am, and you felt like a connection. You felt like you peeking with your girlfriend about like these stories.
Yeah. So next up was Miss Jocelyn Fox. You know, I thought she looked cute. It wasn't my favorite thing I've ever seen her wear. You know, the Nude Illusion is cute, but that's just kind of how I feel. You know?
I mean, it gave me like very like kind of flapper-ish.
Yeah, there was a flapper element.
The look wasn't complete. I don't know. There was just something about it that was a little going too far to the left for me.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It just.
But I wasn't really mad at her.
Right.
It was like.
But I mean, she had a good start with her comedy, but it just didn't really go nowhere, and people weren't really receiving her kind of personality and her quirkiness.
I felt that too. They weren't really receiving her too well, and I feel like she tried to keep pushing through. Like I felt like they didn't crack her.
Yeah. But it just wasn't.
Yeah, it just kind of fell flat. I guess agree though with the judges in saying that she should have kept up with the whole ADD thing thing. Like,
Yeah.
if that's how you're gonna start off your routine, you kind of setting yourself to be that throughout, and she didn't really do that.
Yeah. So next up was Miss Bianca Del Rio. I love the look. Classic Bianca. Love that 60s print. Love that haircut with it. Just everything.
It was gorgeous. Gorgeous silhouette.
Yeah. Well, she always lets you have it, honey. But, I mean, the pressure was on her for the comedy challenge, but she just took that motherfucking bull by the horns and the bulls, honey.
You know, it's funny though, because Bianca is one girl out of 6 seasons I can definitely say when the pressure is on her to do well, I'm not worried at all that she's gonna fuck it up.
Well, she always manages, like, she always seems to keep this, like, coolness, like, about her.
Yeah, Bianca seems to me somebody, like, she's so comfortable with a microphone, like, everything she does just seems so natural and instinctive to her.
Yeah, she really, like, slayed, destroyed every motherfucking synonym and grabbed herself a thesaurus, you beat her all day, because this bitch, like, eliminated it.
She
did.
There
was no more challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the lip sync this week was Stupid Girls by Pink. I feel like Jocelyn really ate that. Like, I already know she a big Pink fan, so she was probably feeling the gig as it was.
Yeah.
But I really feel like Jocelyn embodied the attitude. She had that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't feel the fight in Laganja so much in the lip sync.
No, even though she was doing all the moves, I didn't feel like her heart was in it. I felt like she'd just been a little bit defeated at this point. Like,
I kind of felt
and I mean, we saw in the Untucked how she was feeling, so I think that just came across in her performance. Unfortunately, like, it is what it is. It's like, you know, what can you do? You have to just take it by the chin. She went out there, she did it, she did her best. Unfortunately, she got sent home, but I mean, she made it this far. Like, she's made her impact on the competition. She's calm. She's, you know, people know her now. People know Laganja, honey. So it's up to her what she goes now and does with it. You know? You know, at least she left, like, with her head up high and doing her own thing, like, so props to her.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to see her grow. I want to see her at this reunion, honey, and see what she, you know, what's her take.
Yeah.
What's the tea?
Okay, so moving on to Untucked, when all the girls were talking about Laganja and the whole voice thing or whatever, I felt like, okay, I wasn't there to, like, witness it, so they edited it, whatever. But I feel like the energy in the room and the way that, from what I saw, everybody was being really fair. And I actually feel a little bit like everybody in the room who was talking about it was kind of treading lightly.
Yeah, I felt like they were making an effort to say things a certain way, and like Darian clearing up, oh no, don't think we were all talking about it behind your back.
Yeah.
And being like that, and like Trinity made a great point in saying that Dayla puts on Dayla when she's Dayla.
Yeah.
But Laganja is this person all the time, so it's hard to, like, you know, read her and get.
And it's easy to read that as a clock or whatever, but that's not how it's coming. It's because it's been addressed tonight on the runway by Michelle that it's kind of the focus in the room. But I feel like they could have really run with that in a nasty way, and they didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they would. I felt like they were trying to be friends to her and just be like, look, real talk. Like, competition aside, this is just what it is.
It's like last week, you know, Trinity was telling her, and they were all having a conversation about her, like, you know, don't change who you are. They're just trying to say that they can't crack you, whatever.
About Ben.
About Ben, yeah. And I feel like this week Ben has actually just, like, moved on, let it go, and is able to, like, speak about it. And, you know, she's not taking it so to heart, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like Laganja just needs to, like, shake it off. You know, not take it so personally.
You know, Jocelyn, again this week, showing a lot of love to Adore in particular this time around. Like, I just feel like Jocelyn has such a good heart. The only thing is, I do wish a little bit that Jocelyn would put herself first more.
She's so that girl.
Especially because in this challenge, she didn't do so well. I feel like, you know, we get a moment of Jocelyn like she does, showing some love to somebody else, but I feel like she doesn't really get it back from anybody.
No,
and not that she needs to, or that anybody signed up to do that.
But
you know,
I want her to look after herself first. And come on, bitch. I want to see you go further in this competition.
Yes. Okay, so getting into the whole gig this week in Untucked with Bianca and Laganja, I will say I don't really see why Bianca really felt it necessary to bring up what she brought up for the reasons she did. Like, to say that she did the math and everything. Like, I do feel a little bit maybe like Bianca was trying to throw Laganja. Because I didn't feel like it was such a pressing issue.
Yeah.
So much about that thing in particular.
But I also felt like last week, Laganja really tried her. And I felt like in that moment, in that Disney villain look, I could see Bianca's pot stirring and she was just going to sit on it, honey. And I felt like...
But this is the thing. I don't feel like Bianca is an evil person.
No.
I don't feel like she's
just,
a negative
to me,
person.
it's like Darian and Dayla. I don't feel like they really hate each other. I don't know Darian, I don't know. But it's like there's a jerk and a twist and a pin.
Yeah, I don't think it was serious. I feel like it was like she was just trying to throw her a little bit, like test the water with her. The same way that she kind of went through this with Adore, that she's kind of been through this with Trinity. And I feel like Laganja crumbled a little bit under. Like, I feel like it could have definitely been received a lot better. Like, I didn't feel it needed to go there.
No.
Where it went.
You know, I don't want to too much get into it. I don't want to too much go in on Laganja. Whatever the case may be, like, I'm sure all of y'all
Because it happened a long time ago.
And
at this point, IRL.
Yeah, it is what it is. I really just want to see the reunion now. I want to see what's next, what she got to say, like, you know?
Yeah, how does she feel about the whole thing? Because I feel like, almost a little bit like, we almost got too much. Like, they could have cut that down in a way, because I feel like it was, like, a lot of embarrassing moments there that they could have maybe saved her.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of, because it was a lot.
Yeah, they really put it all out there, honey.
They really did. Even if you feel like you're getting attacked, you still need to have a way of controlling it, especially in this environment.
Yeah, because I feel like nobody was out here, like, threatening you, like, cussing you out. Like, it was just kind of a heated kind of discussion, but I feel like she just, with the pressure of the competition, and then she didn't perform too well in the comedy, and I'm sure that was weighing heavy on her shoulders, plus this beef going on, and I felt like everybody was saying
I'd really like to see her come back now and, like, see where her head was at in that moment.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see this reunion.
And you know, I feel like Adore feels bad because I feel like she's stuck in a place where she wants to be honest and things are kind of irking her, especially because she's going through this competition too.
Yeah.
And she's got her own shit to worry about and her own situation. And I feel like she wants to be honest, but she doesn't want to, like, you know, nail her to the fucking cross either. I really don't feel like Adore came here for that. And I feel like she let herself get a little bit deeper into it than she meant to, and she tried to rein it back, but it's like too late. At that point, like, she had already popped off, and I feel like she was just left feeling guilty as fuck.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I think we pretty much covered everything. We will see y'all very soon for the next episode. Hopefully a full-on review. You know, we're just trying to address the important things or whatever, so we can catch up. Remember to hit the thumbs up button, and all of our social network links are down below in the description box, so check that out. Bye!
Bye! Bye!